Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be doing a market analysis on the Sword and Shield era. And yes, it is a day late. I usually release these on Mondays, but yeah, this is for week 32 from August 4th to the 10th. So we actually have more data because I am a day late, and of course, everything we're going to be looking at is up to date. So yeah, yesterday I did the Scarlet and Violet era, and today we're going to be doing Sword and Shield. And also this video is going to be a bit shorter because there are certain things that aren't really doing anything, and some boxes that I just simply don't care about, and I think most people don't either. Evolving Skies is exactly where it was last week, and everything from Darkness Ablaze and before that to me is pointless to look at. I don't like any of the sets. I know a lot of you guys feel the same. They only have a decent price point because of extreme scarcity, no reprints for some of those boxes, and that's that. But, oh, also, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, it's a nice thing to just repeat and say all the time so you guys can remember. But yeah, guys, without further ado, let's get to it. So first thing we're going to be looking at here is the Crown Zenith Elite Trainer box. Now, Crown Zenith, like I stated in last week's video, it was steadily climbing. Like it was pretty slow, but it was climbing for 3 months straight, 6 months straight. But at least in the last week since the last video, it has finally found some consolidation, some stabilization, you may say. It's not climbing. It hasn't climbed in the last week, at least. Sales are sitting right around that market price. Even those listed here are right around that market price, which is not a bad thing, right? These things, they do climb, but they do it over time. Of course, this like hype period we're in right now is not the norm. It's not natural in any sort of way. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It's already at a really nice price point at $170 an ETB. I think that's a pretty nice price point for an ETB that was printed heavily for a set that was just completely printed to the ground, and it still ended up being one of the most beloved sets of the Sword and Shield era. So that's that for Crown Zenith. We're going to move on now to Silver Tempest. Silver Tempest is one of those boxes that I did point out was set to boom, right? And you see the lowest listed here at $395. Market price has now climbed to about $380, right below $380. But for a good while, it was at like $360, and it has steadily been climbing. Sales, of course, they just keep on selling. People are finally starting to buy the box a little more than they were in this area here. But the listed boxes are at that 390 price point and even higher now. 395, 395, starting to creep up to that 400. You have 395 plus shipping, 397 plus shipping here, 400, 400, and of course, if you keep on going, it's just going to keep climbing, right? So Silver Tempest, a box that was not really being appreciated so much before, is being appreciated now. I think even Astral Radiance was being bought out more than Silver Tempest was, even though Silver Tempest has a much better chase card than the Astral Radiance set does. Now, after this, we're going to be looking at Lost Origin. Lost Origin, market price is $600, but this is a $700 box. It's just taken dramatic leaps. Market price, I think last week was like $550. I think it was $550. You guys can correct me if I was wrong. But then the lowest list at the time was $650. And just like now, you see $600 market, but $700 was the most recently sold. And if you go to the next page, see the next page here, I'm pretty sure you're going to see some wild postings. See these posts here, like 700, basically 715, 730, $800, 800, 800. Yeah. If sales continue on TCG Player, that market price is just going to go through the roof. Who knows where Lost Origin is really going to stop? Can it reach 900 potentially with like the numbers we see here? If people actually make purchases here on TCG Player, it could reach even $1,000 if people become that aggressive toward this box. We probably won't be seeing that on eBay, I would think. And now, so the reason I was saying that I wouldn't expect to see that on eBay is because you can usually find some better deals, maybe on auctions, but I guess not. The first one we see here that was sold today, it was $750, $16 delivery. That's well over that market price. But then again, it's also heading towards those other listings we saw there that are creeping up to $800 and further beyond that. This is a crazy buy right here. 2 boxes, both chilling and Lost Origin. Best offer accepted. All right, so that best offer accepted was just the dollar price translated into Canadian dollars, which is not a big deal, but that's still an amazing buy. $980. What's that? About $490 per box. $490 for Lost Origin, $490 for a Chilling Reign if you wanted to cut it clean. The box's market right now for Chilling Reign is like $420. But I pay the easy $80 premium on that to get Lost Origin for $490. That's nothing. That's an insane buy. By far the best buy I've seen all week. That's crazy. I can't believe that was listed for that price. I can't believe it. Yeah, that's crazy. But you like I said before, you see some deals here on eBay. $625. In my experience, I always see that eBay tends to lag behind, but sometimes, like I said before, I always say this, it's like it happens every time. Every time I talk about possibly finding a good deal on eBay, I run into the next one right away, and it's a massive deal. Not a deal, sorry, a massive buy of $760 with $11 delivery. Well above market again. $750. Best offer accepted here. What else? $700. Yeah, this box is just climbing so fast. $700. Yeah, some of these TCG player market prices, they translate to eBay, but a lot of the time you can still find deals, whether it's through auctions or maybe the seller just isn't, referencing back to TCG player, which I do prefer that sometimes. Of course, I want a better deal, but also I think TCG player, like I said before, it's so much easier to manipulate. You have so few boxes listed there, and then you have way more boxes listed on eBay and Facebook that normally wouldn't have a point to reference if they didn't have TCG player. So that's the only thing. That's the way I feel about it, but that's all right. All right, moving forward. Of course, like I said, Lost Origin might be reaching $1,000 by the end of the year. Astral Radiance. Now, Astral Radiance is a box that doesn't have a great total set value, and it should have been realized before. And I think a lot of people really regretted buying this box back on that day where they had that sale. Maybe just because there was a sale on it with that event on the TCG player Mayhem. Maybe that's the only reason that maybe it sits well with people. But the fact that people started realizing it so late, they realized it so late, and now people aren't buying the box. Sales were almost non-existent in this past month. There were just a few days where people were buying. There were so many days where there were no sales after a box just got bought out like the way it did on that day and before that. So now it's sitting at $368. It's been steadily dropping. Most recently sold is $360. Yeah, I would say, if anything, if you wanted to buy into this box, you could wait for the bottom if you really wanted to, just because this isn't one of the boxes that I would be really chasing after. But if you could just keep following up on the box and just watching it get to that lower price point where you feel like it's a more reasonable price. People here clearly they see that price and they started buying, but I think they could have waited a little longer. I think patience is key, and I don't think people have much patience in this hobby. They start seeing a box like Prismatic reach $100 and they start buying it right away, and then they keep it at that price, and then they don't realize that they could have allowed it to get more affordable and just bought it at a much affordable price. But it is what it is. People are going to do what they're going to do. So yeah, moving on to the next one, Brilliant Stars. Now, Brilliant Stars coupled with Silver Tempest is the other one that I did mention was set to take big leaps. The chart's messed up. We're going to switch it to the 6 month. This box was set to take big leaps. $450 lowest listed. Most recently sold was $455. Yeah, that market price is not going to be at $424 for long. It was at $400. It's been climbing. Of course, it was at $400 right here. But the listings on TCG Player take big leaps quickly. We have all these $450 listings plus shipping, right? So they're more than the ones that are the lowest listed there. And if you keep going to the next page, we already get to $500 really quickly, guys. Not too many sales after the lowest listed that are going to get you to that $500 price point on TCG Player. And this is what I mean when it comes to a site like this one and being manipulated so easy. Not that it's being manipulated right now, but because there aren't so many people listing their boxes on here, it'll push that market price up so much faster than it would normally go up. Like an organic growth, if it was organic, it wouldn't be taking these big leaps like it is right now, from 424 to maybe $500 after 10 boxes get sold, right? And like I said, look, there's only 33 other listings, and that's because people aren't really listing too many on TCG Player. You're going to clearly see many more on eBay. And so when we look on eBay, surprisingly enough, like always, you find a sale that's even greater than TCG Player, and then you probably run into a sale like this one that's below what's listed on TCG Player. And that's what I mean. Finding deals. You run into people who just aren't using TCG Player as a reference point. Clearly, these guys are, and that's what happens. You know, if TCG Player didn't exist, it'd probably be a little more affordable. But yeah, you can find way better deals on eBay as opposed to TCG Player. But it is a box that is set to really, really climb in price. There are a lot of people that are talking about Brilliant Stars, really hyping the box up. Not saying that it's not worth the hype, but the more people talk about it, the more eyes are on it, the more people are going to be thinking about buying it, and that's just what happens. It's going to trigger this effect. So that's that for Brilliant Stars. And next we're going to be going to Fusion Strike, the big bully side by side with Lost Origin. This box is well on its way to $1,000. Lowest listed is $900. Market price at $820. Most recent sale at $750. That's surprising to see that below, unless it's something else. Yeah, that's why, because it says 2 small holes in the seal. No problem. $870. I'll say this is the most recently sold. That I'm not really going to count that price, right? Because it's a damaged box. $870. $875. There was one at $825 here, $860. Everything well above $800. This box is another one. It's climbing so quickly. This is insane. Look at this right here. This is actually like a little scary. This should not be happening, but it is clearly. Like I said before, it's also scarcity. Scarcity on TCG Player, not just all over, not on the market like people say. It's just scarcity on TCG Player. But these listings are insane. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like $1,000 listing over here somewhere. $930, $950. I'm not gonna go any further. It's gonna take some people to actually buy these boxes here before we even decide to even look at those $1,000 listings. They're there. They've got to be there. I have no doubt. And so on eBay, that price point continues. An $850 sale here, a $900 sale here. Best offer accepted. $920 off bids. Guys, this to me is these are the things that don't make sense to me, but whatever. I guess it's because it's from Probostine. Probostine has these crazy insane auctions, I guess, just because it's from a certified source. I guess that's what it is. $920, $930, well above the lowest listed. That's crazy. But then look here, $690. This is where I want to live. If it's me, this is where I want to live, not here. Even though these boxes, I'm not gonna lie, at least this one here looks really minty, and I understand the premium on a minty box, but wow, $880 with the acrylic case. So you're kind of paying $850 for this box. The acrylic cases cost $30. $723 from the UK with $50 shipping. That's basically right below $800 plus tax. $960 on bids. Another minty box. Of course, guys are gonna pay a premium on that. Crazy. $890. Yeah, Fusion Strike is gonna be at $1,000 in no time. The way people are buying these boxes, it's gonna be at $1,000 in no time. And this is what I'm saying. I know guys reference TCG Player. I just know they want to make more money, and I get it. They're definitely using TCG Player as a reference point, and it triggers this. It's so crazy how that works. So crazy. 920 and 30. Crazy. Next, Celebrations. Celebrations ETB has been on a steady climb. It's finally taking a chill pill right here. Finally, at $260. We're seeing sales below 260, lowest listed at $250. Not a bad thing, I would say. I think this box right here is getting overhyped. I know I pointed out last week that I actually made a video when it was like $130 when I was telling people to buy. Of course, like I said before, I'm a small channel, so people don't listen. And that's cool, you know, but it was 130. It is now $250. The total set value is not amazing. I understand maybe getting a box that's maybe scarce, but from what I know, there were a lot of boxes, and I think this box has been climbing a little too fast for me. I think it's time for it to relax where it's at. I think that's a decent price point at $250. Next, Killing Rain. This is a box that should be taking off. Now, I don't know why people aren't exactly buying this box, but then they are buying Brilliant Stars. They are buying Silver Tempest. This is a box I think should be getting bought. And if it isn't getting bought at the moment, which it is, and we see the sales here, I expect it to be getting bought at some point soon. $420 market price, $440 lowest listed. And from then on, just after that $440 lowest listed, you got $430, $440 again, but of course this is shipping here, so it's really $445, sorry. $440 with 15 shipping again, that's $465. $455 here, $460 basically right there, $462. Yeah, just a few sales from this box reaching that $450 price point. Maybe one day, it soon, I guess, surpassing its high when it comes to market price. But we'll have to see what it does. This is a box that I feel like is getting a little underestimated at the moment. I'm not gonna say undervalued. Nothing is undervalued. Everything is extremely super pumped. I don't like using the word undervalued, so we're gonna go with that. But if we look at eBay and we try to find some Chilling Rain sales, I can't believe this is even here. $280. I want to know what's wrong with this box, but I really don't. $465. $465. This is such a beautiful box. The way that it's that color, that blue. $440. $434 plus $25 shipping. $445. $450. $445. $450. $420. What's funny is that unlike the other boxes, Chilling Rain is the one and only box that I'm not seeing this week being sold below market. The lowest sale is at market price and everything else is above it, which is surprising to me. Usually you find deals on here, like somehow, some way you find something on an auction, but it's not dropping below that price. It's not. But this box is, in my opinion, right under Lost Origin and above Silver Tempest and Brilliant Stars. So I expected it to be above Brilliant Stars, but Brilliant Stars is taking off a little bit more right now. Really surprising to me. I really expected this box to be the one to overcome Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, and Astral Radiance at all times. I never thought that those boxes would at any point eclipse this box. And Brilliant Stars at the moment is selling more than Chilling Rain, which is very, very surprising to me. But we'll have to see. The market there's a new thing happening in the market every week. You just never know exactly what's going to happen, what people are willing to buy, what they have their eyes on. Of course, like I said before, one of the biggest things is having content creators convince people or guide them or steer them some kind of way where they buy a certain box more than others. Just like I said with Brilliant Stars. Brilliant Stars gets talked about by so many people. So many people. No one talks about Astral Radiance. Not saying that Astral Radiance should be at that price point, but no one talks about it. And if it did, I promise you it would be getting sold. Same thing with Chilling Rain. Chilling Rain has a real organic growth at the moment. No one's talking about it. No one talks about Chilling Rain. But Brilliant Stars gets hyped up so much. And people, as of recently, are talking about Silver Tempest, for example. And now they're talking about how the Lugia looks so good. So now you see those two boxes really, really getting bought, while something like Chilling Rain isn't. But yeah, guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys found some value. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.